Springtime in the garden. It's full of maintenance, planning, and preparation. In today's video, we're going to be preparing for this year's food crops by creating a couple of cheap raised garden beds with you guys. I love raised garden beds because they minimize the amount of weeding that needs to be done throughout the year, and generally that weeding is a lot easier to do in a raised garden bed than in the soil. And you can also add whatever organic compounds that you need to make sure your soil composition is correct and your plants are growing happy and healthy. So let's head over to the store and see what we need for today's project. We're here at Home Depot. We're going to be using these 2x12x8s. These are Douglas fir. We're going to need 6 of them. 2 for lengthwise, and then 1 is going to be cut in half for each of the grow beds, and today we're going to be making 2 of them. These are $13.22 each. Next, we're going to pick up some 2x2 stakes. These are to put in the center of the raised bed to keep it from bowing. These are 87 cents each. Next up is an 8-foot landscape timber that is $4.27. I'm going to use this at each corner of the raised bed as structural support to really hold it in there to make sure that it won't be going anywhere in the near future. Just one of these is going to be perfect for the job. Next, you're going to need these construction screws. I am getting number 10s by 3.5s. You most likely don't need to use screws this large, but I'm going to pick these up just in case. One box of these is $7.97. Here we'll be cutting 2 of the 8-foot boards into 4-foot sections. This is to create the width of our grow beds, which are going to be 8 foot by 4 foot. Next up, this single piece of timber is going to be cut up into 11-inch sections. I'm going to put one of these pieces in each corner of our garden bed. This is going to provide some great structural support for our garden bed, and I highly suggest putting these pieces in. These are the 2x2s that are going to be pounded into the ground, and so I'm just going to make a diagonal cut across it. That way, when I pound it into the ground, it pushes up against the garden bed, holding it into place.
Good job! Good job, Dad!
Thank you. Here, hold this up. Second hand is usually necessary. Basically what we've done here is just tapped in 1 supporting screw in each corner. Then we're going to take our structural pieces and put them into each corner as well, with about 3 screws on each side. So we're just going to take these cut lengths right here, pop it into each corner, and then screw it into place. You put this in each corner, put those in the corners, like these corners. On that one, I had to put a second screw down in the corner just to make sure that our edges were flush together. And now I'll put the structural piece in. So here you can see close up of what we did here. That's gonna make sure that these things stay square and do not pull apart from each other throughout the years of having this. Some people just tap them right into each other without this center structural piece, but you're gonna have much more stability and structure for the future if you put this piece in there too. So for the couple of bucks that this piece of wood was, I really recommend doing that. She is a beauty. Time to do that to our second one. All in all, it's taken about half an hour, including cutting the pieces here for this one. So this project really doesn't take a lot of time. One battery down. There we go. Now a couple of changes that I decided to make throughout this project is one, I wasn't drilling all the pilot holes because the wood was not splitting whatsoever. So I didn't have an issue with that. If you are having an issue with that, then drill the pilot holes. And also I moved from a number 10 screw down to the next size lower. And then I think these are also 2.5 inches. I just had these in the garage, so I ended up using these. The ones that I bought at Home Depot were just way overkill and definitely not needed. So you can use a smaller screw if you would like. You're not gonna have any problems there. Next up, I'm gonna see if the soil is thawed out enough to where we can pound our stakes into each side to make sure that this grow bed doesn't bow over time. These are the stakes right here that we've made up. We just made one diagonal cut along it. We're gonna be putting the cut so it is aiming towards the outside of the garden bed. That way it pushes your stake up against the outside beam here instead of pulling it inside if you were to turn it this way. So we're gonna turn it this way and see if we can pound them in. So there you have it. Now we've got two beautiful raised garden beds ready to help us produce some food crops over the next several years. These things will last between 5 to 10 years. You might have to throw in a couple of screws here and there if needed, if the boards start to split. But this Douglas fir is definitely gonna last a long time, and it's also very affordable. This whole project costs us under $100 for the whole deal. Now, if you were to go with pine, you're gonna cut that cost in about half, but that pine is only gonna last a couple of years, especially with the soil around it. The funguses are just gonna eat away that pine faster than you really want it to. So that's why I recommend going with Douglas fir. Now, if you want a more expensive option that will last you up to 15 years, you can go with a cedar. But with this project, I think this Douglas fir is going to do us just fine. And with the cost savings that we have, we've made up just enough cost to even rebuild these in several years compared to the cedar. So that's why I recommend using the Douglas fir when building these raised beds. It's affordable, and it's also going to last you a lot longer than pine would. Make sure that you do buy untreated wood. You don't want any of those chemicals getting into your food crops. It's not going to last as long as treated, but the bottom line is the health for our bodies, the stuff that we're putting in our bodies, so make sure you get untreated wood. Stay tuned for an upcoming video where I'm going to show you guys how we fill these things up with soil and a couple of other steps that you're going to want to take to make sure that maintaining these beds is as easy as possible for you in the future. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you're having a great spring so far. Happy gardening.